Hello, hello, hello. Greetings, Banff Warriors. Greetings. Greg is here. Where is here? Where's here? Here is the present moment. It's the now. It's the now. Not always easy to truly be present. I think a lot of people struggle to just still their minds, still their bodies, still your souls. Because in many ways, your mind, your body, your soul, your heart has been stole. Stole by what? It's an interesting paradigm. Think about that. When you just need to be still, just be present. There's nothing else than this very present moment, here and now. There's so much gratitude in that. I'm grateful to be on here today, as I just saw 111 come up. I'm grateful to have all of you joining in on this conversation of life. Those of you that have really been engaging with the content and really just the existence of your own situation. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We are here and now. We are here now. Isn't that a beautiful thing? I'm always grateful to get on here to share my experiences, my beliefs, and really just speak life into so many. This journey can be very challenging. The journey of life can be very, very challenging. And most of us, even if we're the most social of socials, we realize that even in that, there are so many lonely periods of time where no one else is there. And we only got ourselves. And in that is where most suffering happens, is when you're just by yourself, with yourself, which most people do not like. Are you someone that enjoys spending time with yourself? Or is it painful to be alone? That's an interesting conversation, and that's what so much of this is really about in this place where we find ourselves. I think if you look in any direction, you can see that a lot of relationships are struggling. I think the old model of relationship, particularly, well, it's all the paradigms of relationships. I think that even the parental relationships, the familiar relationships, the romantic relationships, the platonic relationships, the professional relationships, the social relationships are all being remade, reset, reevaluated. Because in the past, all of these were based on a lot of fear, a lot of authority, a lot of submission, a lot of hierarchy. And there wasn't a lot of duality, right? Reciprocity of truly understanding. And it's, I was raised by the authoritarian generation. Many of you are probably in the same boat. That sort of do as I say, not as I do, which is in and of itself, dead on arrival in terms of, human experience. It's like, wait, So you're not an example. You don't have to be a role model. You don't have to set the standard. You're going to tell me how I should live, but don't judge you on how you're living. Don't make any kind of comparisons. Don't really like use my eyes, use my senses to say, wait, something doesn't add up here. You want me to have it better than you, but you're not willing to show through your own actions that even what you're saying is better is worth the effort, is worth the energy, the exchange. And yet, how many of you are suffering right now on some level, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or physically, if not all the above? And then you can even add financial, all based on limiting beliefs, all based on programs, all based on fear. I mean, the literal analogy is, and this is one of the hardest areas to really grab a hold of, because the truth is most of you have built your life based on lies. You're telling yourself lies. Someone told you lies, you're believing lies, and yet the analogy is, could you imagine having a revelation right here, right now, that your whole entire life you've been in a cage and you only knew that the cage was all that existed, and then by some kind of divine intervention you were told you don't have to stay in this cage anymore. You know that, right? The door's been unlocked this whole time. The door's unlocked. Like, you've just sat here because you believed that the door was locked. You believed that you could not escape, that it was impenetrable. But the doors, you actually, all you had to do is just push the door open and walk out. Would you walk out? Because in walking out, the thing that has to happen is you then have to accept the fact that most of what you know, most of what you believe has been a lie. It's been a total lie. And I can prove this through the vibrational chart. The vibrational energy chart. I'm going to continue to harp on this because this is the whole game. This is everything that all of us are playing. There's nothing more to this. There's nothing more or less to this whole entire experience that we're all living. If you find yourself feeling a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of apathy, a lot of grief, a lot of fear, a lot of desires unfilled, anger, pride, you're suffering, you're closed, you're contracted. And the way that I can prove that everything that you've believed is a lie is because look at what it takes right here at the crux between the lower self, right? You could call this the lower self, right? This is a state of suffering. It's the lower self. And the higher self, right, is expansion. At the crux is courage. Well, what do you have to be courageous of? First, you have to be courageous to be able to say, like, yeah, I need to give myself permission to let go. Well, what do you need to let go of? Everything. Uh-oh, that's too scary. I can't do that. I don't want to lose everything. No one's saying you have to lose everything. But by mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically letting go of everything that you think you know, right? It takes killing that old self, which is the last bit of ego, which is your pride. That's that ego death, right? It's the pride. It's like, wait, no, this is what I know. And yet the shift right here is you go from courage to neutrality. Well, what do you have to be neutral on? Everything. It's the difference between negatives, positives. Neutral is zero. And that's truly when we first come into this earth as a child, we start at neutral. And then every time that there is a positive experience, there's a plus mark that goes into our subconscious. And every time there's a negative experience, traumatic experience, traumatizing experience, there's negatives. Well, the thing is you can't go in and turn negatives into positives and positives into negatives, but you can turn them into neutrality by giving it a new definition, by redefining your understanding of what this is, of what this whole experience is. Because in your mind, you're so caught up in whatever identity you've created for yourself. Mostly it's usually based on your lineage, who your familiar relations, and then you've also through your life experiences, and then now probably as an adult, you're very raptured up into intimate relationship, failed relationships, occupational titles and responsibilities, which none of that is you. None of it. None of that is you. Do you realize this? Like you want to feel that, oh no, I'm so-and-so from this country and this gender and this political affiliation and this family. And it's like, but none of that's you. That is not who you truly are. But your pride has to die. You have to kill that pride. The pride is, oh no, I have to be all these things. Because if I'm not all these things, and what's really even wilder in this day and age is people are so proud of who has the most victim tallies on their resume. Like who has been the most victimized? Who's the victim of all victims to be victimized? And the truth is that there's not even any victims. As I see 111 here in Mountain Standard Time. And that's going to trigger people because wait, your whole identity, right? If you're triggered, that means that there's something going on. There's an emotional attachment that you have to hearing things that don't align with your false sense of self. Thus, you are suffering. You're suffering right now. Because there's no way that you are in a total place of willingness, for sure neutrality. If you have any kind of politicized, social, religious, economic, even just nationalized beliefs, like you're not expanded. It's not until you let go of all that stuff and just get neutral. And then have a willingness to accept that, yeah, it's okay. That was all a part of the process of transcendence, the process of awakening spiritually, which all of humanity. This message isn't just reaching, the good old US of A. This is reaching a global audience because this energetic shift is happening globally. We are all connected energetically. Spiritually, we are all connected. But we're also connected physically in our suffering, mentally in our suffering, emotionally in our suffering. And that's why a time such as this, a message such as this, is now being exposed. Because the time has come for us to transcend our suffering, our self-induced state of suffering. That's crazy. Yeah, I was born and raised in Santa Fe. So The real issue is right now. And here's a measure, right? Here's a measure of how you know where you're at on this chart is if you were to sit there and write out a list of how much you love yourself and what are you doing to take care of yourself, right? And then if you were to also be honest and write a list of the things you're doing that are harmful to yourself, that you know are harmful to yourself, that you know are not healthy habits, that you know is actually, there are habits that we actually have also called addictions that are literally poisoning ourselves. And yet we're lying to ourselves, right? We're telling ourselves a lie that somehow this thing is okay. It's socially okay, which it's like, who the fuck cares about social? It's not about the window. It's not about what society wants you to think about it. It's what do you think about it to yourself? In your heart of hearts, when you are ingesting alcohol, it's poison. Ethanol is a poisonous chemical to our bodies. Any amounts. Prove me wrong. So if you know, if you know that, but you say, no, but society says it's okay. I'm 21. It's legal. And there's all these other justifications to say it's okay. But you know that you got a problem with it. And you know that just in doing it in and of itself is poisoning you. Right? Why would you poison yourself if you were full of love, joy, and peace? Why would you poison yourself? Why would you do that? That sounds terrible. Why would you want to poison yourself? If you have the power to not poison yourself, you have the poison to lift yourself up, to love yourself. It's interesting that joy comes after the love. Like unconditional love is truly like loving yourself first and foremost from the inside out. But of course, that's going to come after what? Acceptance. To accept that you can no longer, that there's no need to continue hurting yourself, harming yourself, and that you're not helpless. You actually can do things that can help to improve your quality of life, that can help to improve who you are as a human being. That these things that you've been using are self-sabotaging. Self-medication is a form of self-sabotage. Do you realize this? Well, what are you trying to sabotage yourself for? It's because there's a part of you that is in pain, is hurting, and you don't want to help it. You're like, this is good enough. This works temporarily. I'm going to go ahead and do that. As if somehow looking in the mirror, looking within you, and dealing with all the shit that you went through with compassion, no judgment, is such a terrible thing to do. It's like, who started that lie? We must have collectively started this. I realized this when I got into teaching. I was 4th and 5th grade teacher. And I was in a school that was very trauma informed. They called it trauma informed. And it was true. I could see dead energy. I could see children that were neglected, abused, coming into the classroom. Like the school was really their safe space. And I started going through all these trainings about trauma. And I'm sitting there saying, shit, I see this dead energy on these kids real time. And I started having to look in a mirror. Fuck, how did this impact me? I've been through all this type of shit too. And it was like the light bulb came on. It was like I finally flipped the switch and I saw the light. I was like, what? This is what's going on inside of me? All this unresolved trauma has led me to just literally not taking care of myself, not valuing myself, and not even understanding that that's a part of it, which it's the whole deception. Because everything from your inception and awakening into this world has been externalized. Everything is externalized. You're super dependent. Do you know that children, babies, like especially in orphanages and stuff, that if they're not nurtured and like shown lots of love and affection, they'll die. We'll die if we're not shown love and care and nurturing and affection. So we become codependent on that. But it gets to a point where we get indoctrinated even just through our education system where everything is externalized. We're supposed to be more concerned about learning everyone else's history than learning about ourselves. How many of you can actually realize that like you learned about yourself? What do you love? What do you hate? What do you want and why? How do you you know emotionally regulate yourself in difficult situations? How do you do that? Most of us didn't learn this. And so here we are as adults having to come to this really kind of awakening moment, a day of reckoning to say everything that you've believed is a lie. What is truth? Ask yourself that. What the hell is true? What do you truly believe? Do you think that your team winning is going to help you win? That's not true. Do you think that um taking care of yourself involves any form of self-sabotage? What are some of the forms of self-sabotage? Procrastination, right? Setting the bar too high, self-medicating, overeating, neglecting doing important things, allowing that negative internal critic to run wild in your head, to be the defining presence of who you are as you move about this earth? Or are you willing to get to a place of courage to where you can allow to releasing all of those beliefs? Like everything, letting go of everything. What's the scariest part of that? To say that if everything you believe is a lie, these people are the good people, these people are the bad people. We've created all these little stories in our heads. And yet you have the power to change your entire existence. And it's time to start to lean into that. But again, the choice is always going to be yours. Right? It starts in the mindset. This is a mental game. Nothing exists without the mind. And so if you truly do want to give yourself, if you really want to feel peace, right? If you're somebody that says, you know what, I want to feel inner peace, you're not going to be able to go from being someone that's filled with grief to now you're like blissed out and peaceful. No, you gotta transcend this. You gotta raise your vibration. You gotta raise your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your spirituality, your connection with the divine, with God. You have to do that. And where it starts, here's where it starts. And this is where most people are suffering. It starts in the physical. Which mentally you need to assess what is your physical circumstances. I knew when I was on my downward spiral, death spiral, I knew what I needed to do. But for whatever reason, I wasn't willing to do it. I wasn't willing to do it. I was carrying around too much guilt and shame that I literally felt like I deserved to be punished, that I deserved to self destruct, to hit that rock bottom. I mean, ultimately, I feel like I deserved to die from a lot of the shit I did. And yet here I am. It's a miracle. And here you are. It's a miracle. But the choice is yours. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? Because every single moment of every single day is new. And if you're someone that's stuck in the past, you're depressed or anxious about the future, that's anxiety. The future, the unknown, there's fear, right? That's a fear that puts you down here in fear. When you're afraid of what has happened. Like if you're feeling any of those, right? This is where you're at. You're in the bottom of the barrel. If you're depressed, you're sad about the past, and you're worried about the future, you're from fear below. And that doesn't mean that you don't have moments of happiness and joy, but I think most of us are truly seeking longevity, sustainability, right? And that happens by expanding ourselves, right? If you truly want to feel inner peace, you truly want to feel happy, you truly want to feel loved, it all comes from within. But you first have to let go and face the existence and the life that you've created for yourself. You've created this life. And that brings me to a really important part of today's message. As you can see here on the bottom, I've been doing the worksheets. I'm going to keep doing the worksheets with you guys. Let me share this. So I made a worksheet today because I've been talking a lot about this lovely topic, forgiveness, and how it sets you free. It's a one-way deal, right? It's a one-way deal. If you're somebody that writes down notes and you haven't heard this yet, I have the greatest math problem on earth is, write this down. One guilty person plus another guilty person equals two people that need to be forgiven. And so if you want to download this sheet, it's in the Results Kill Excuses app under the print materials. It's called Set Free by Forgiveness. And so it's taking an inventory. And first it's looking in the mirror. Who have you hurt? We've all hurt somebody. We've all hurt probably a lot of people, if we're really honest. Because hurting could be a lot of different ways. And if you really take a major inventory, I can tell you the other day I was doing some inventorying, and I remember one of the significant moments of my life was I used to get bullied a lot. And I had two bullies, these twins, these big dudes that, man, they would fucking like beat me up and shit. It wasn't like a real like beat up, but they would just like fucking hassle the hell out of me to the point to where it's like I used to have to get early release. So I got like a 5-minute head start because everybody walked home. Everybody was latchkey kids back then. And so I got to get a head start running home, man. Fucking bullies. The funny thing is if you fast forward, that was probably between like 4th and 6th grade in elementary school. If you fast forward to high school, we went to the same high school, the twins and me, and I had grown up by that point, and I was one of the baddest motherfuckers on the team. And I remember we used to do this thing called Bull in the Ring where, they'd put the guys there and you'd be freaking smashing each other. And yeah, I got to get some revenge on those guys. And eventually, yeah, they were, the tables had turned. But I do know that that experience, it hurt me. And I think a lot of us, especially guys, like we just act like, the whole culture, again, we've been programmed. You've been programmed to think, fuck your feelings. And it's like, no, you need to feel your feelings. You need to acknowledge your feelings. Fucking your feelings is going to fuck you over. It's going to leave you really sad, lonely, and probably self-destructed. That's because that's what happened to me, right? 2 DWIs, domestic violence arrest. It's like, how many more, right? Get out of jail cards do I need from God? And I'm like, I don't want no more of those. I don't need any more of that shit. I knew that I had to turn it around and do it legit. And not just do it for a season, not just do it for a week, not just do it for one day, not just get sober for one day, not just do it for a month. I'm like, I'm fucking done, 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 done. Forever more. Forever, ever, ever. I'm done. And there's a lot of you that if you don't have that type of resolve, if you don't have that type of clarity, right? I hope that you hit a fucking major rock bottom that breaks you in half but doesn't kill you. And that sounds harsh, don't it? That sounds harsh. Dang, man, this guy, man. But it's true, because the sooner you hit that place, then you can show up and actually continue showing up for yourself in ways like never before. It's sad that so many of us stubborn, hard-headed humans, it takes that. It literally takes that. It took that for me. I do believe that I've been put here on this stage to be able to help a lot of people not have to go through that through my examples. That's why I'm so open and authentic, because I have gone back to the energy. I am so far past the willingness and the acceptance. Like, I love myself. That doesn't mean that me talking about this is arrogant and cocky. No, it's confident and it's also compassionate, because I can't change what happened, but I'm also not someone that's just trying to like hide it and fucking sweep it under the rug and act like it ain't there. Because it's fucking there if you haven't dealt with your shit. It's gonna always be there. And even if you don't deal with the shit this lifetime, I can guarantee you're gonna deal with the shit next lifetime. So it's up to you. The choice is yours. That's what's so beautiful. So in this worksheet, you got to take an inventory. And most of these worksheets, you don't have to sit there and one go about. But you need to really have some real fucking heartfelt, reflective sessions with, like, who have you hurt? There ain't no innocent people on this planet. And that's why the whole unforgiveness thing is, it's something implanted in us. I mean, it says a lot about you. If you're an unforgiving person, I get it. I understand your pain. I see your pain. I feel your pain. I know what that feels like to be that hurt. But you have a choice. You can let go of your hurt. You can release your hurt, because not forgiving somebody else, they're external. They're not attached to you. When you're holding that level of anger inside of yourself, you are literally self-sabotaging yourself, because you're living in depression. You're not releasing yourself to move forward with your life. You're stuck. You're literally stuck. And I guarantee you have the ailments, you have the body, you have the mindset, everything. All the evidence is right there in your life, guaranteed. If you're someone that hasn't gone through any kind of forgiveness rituals, forgiveness ceremonies, allowing for there to be release and peace energetically. This is energetically, this is spiritual. You do not need to go and walk over to someone that hurt you and crawl over to them and say, please forgive me, even if they hurt you. That's your fear. That's your fears talking to you. That's the ego. That's your pride. That shit needs to die. You need to let that go. Forgiveness sets you free. And this is an energetic thing that you do. You do it in your heart of hearts, your mind, your body, your soul. You let these people go. But the way that I think is the best way to do it is first, you need to realize, fuck, you fucked up too. Ain't nobody innocent. It's like if you're in his, do you feel hypocritical to think that, oh, wait, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, someone hurt you. Well, just last week, you hurt somebody else. You're never going to forgive the person that hurt you 40 years ago, but you sure would like to be forgiven from the person that you hurt last week. Come on now. Like, seriously, I know that you guys can wrap your heart and minds around this concept. So take an inventory of who you've hurt. This could be just little shit. Even just in your thoughts. If you have hateful, judgmental thoughts towards people, that's hurting them. You need to be that sensitive to even your thinking. Just because you didn't act in a violent way, if you're thinking murderous thoughts towards somebody, hateful, angry thoughts towards somebody, guess what? That is hurting those people. But it's ultimately hurting you because you're going to get that reflected back to you. See, that's the whole point. It gets reflected back to you. Internal dialogue. So take an inventory. Who you've hurt, who's hurt you. And that's painful, right? And then it's even understanding, what does forgiveness even mean? It's asking yourself right now, how does unforgiveness affect you? I guarantee you, most of you, if you're angry, bitter about things that have happened in your past, I guarantee you, this is don't you kind of find it ironic that it's not really a mystery? I guarantee you have health issues. I guarantee you there's parts of your body where there's blockages that are creating ailments. You probably have addiction issues. You're probably not taking care of yourself. And it's all based on that. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong by actually proving me right by going through this process for yourself. And then asking yourself, how would forgiving everyone change you? What's the scariest thoughts you can have about forgiving people? Can you imagine? Can you imagine just setting people free from the things that they did? Again, it's a one-way street. Forgiveness is not two-way street. You don't need anybody to come and crawl back to you and say how sorry they are. You can just energetically release people and say, you know what? I forgive you. I forgive you. I release you. I love you. Thank you. I mean, it is the most powerful thing. You have that power. And in doing that, it comes back to you. You start to feel better about yourself. You start to clear blockages within your body. And in order to do that, again, you have to be tapped in not just to the mental piece of this, because none of this makes sense mentally. Logically, no. Your pride, your ego's like, nah, man, what the fuck? I'm so-and-so. He don't understand what I've been through. He don't understand that. I've heard it all. I've heard so many horrific experiences. It's a part of my own just experiences. For whatever reason, I've attracted people into my life. And when I do, I don't know what it is, but people just open up and tell me about all their terrible things. and there's nothing that you can't move past. But if you're still carrying around the terrible things or acting as if the terrible things didn't happen, but then wondering, man, why is your life not moving forward? Come on now. It's time to try something new. It really is time to try something new. It's time to start not only looking at who you've hurt, who's hurt you, but also start to develop the piece of compassion that it takes for this is for you to realize and define for yourself what is self-care, what is self-love. And is it something that you basically say, well, I care for myself 70% of the week, right? I wash myself, I brush my teeth, right? I feed myself, I pay for my bills. Like 70% of the week I do, but then I have these other times that are like me times. They're me times. And I just want to check out. And it's okay if I do this and it's okay if I do that. And even if those things are self sabotaging, even if those things are indicative that I have some unhealed emotional trauma and that I'm using those things to cope, to distract myself, to keep myself held back because I don't know what to do to move forward. But 70% I can take pretty good care of myself. It's like, no, it's 100. It's going all in. If you only do 70, then you're unfulfilled. That 30% is going to be a huge gap in your energy, in your spirit. You will still be longing for what? True peace. You're going to be still longing for true joy, true happiness, true love. You will continue that until you go 100% all in. And that's a tough venture for a lot of adults because again, you have literally carved out these patterns. You are allowing for society's definition of taking care of yourself or living life and having fun, and you're an adult and don't you deserve to do whatever you want. And it's like, great, but does it make you better or does it make you worse? Because there's no in between. You're either doing things that are the pluses in life. They add life to you, they build you up, they fill you up from a pure state of conscientiousness, or they're negatives where you are literally sabotaging yourself. You are harming yourself. You are poisoning yourself. And that's where a lot of people are just like, fuck it. And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Because whether or not you choose to do life on life's terms, whether you choose to embrace this spiritual awakening, this is not I'm not God. God is calling you to become the best version of you. You signed up for this. I signed up for it. When I was living in my self-sabotaging patterns, total self-destruct, total confrontational, filled with guilt, filled with shame, filled with grief, filled with fear, filled with anger, filled with pride, right? I know I was called. I was called for something better. I had a vision. I knew there was something better inside of me. But guess what? It took hitting that motherfucking rock bottom, breaking myself into pieces, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, you name it, for me to say, I'm done with that. I message received. action will now be taken to go in the complete opposite direction that I was going. Because that's the downhill trajectory versus the uphill path. And the thing is uphill is always harder. Downhill is always more dangerous. Wrap your head around that. But at the end of the day, it's like you can hear this message and respond with action by actually putting in the work. Maybe you need to reach out. Maybe you need to get some professional help. Maybe you need to get maybe you need to just start asking for help and trying everything to see what works for you. That was my MO. That was my way of moving. When I hit that rock bottom, I said, okay, I know what number one is. I'm done with alcohol. Like, thank you so much. I appreciate all the good times, all the hangovers. Thank you so much. The DUIs were great. I know they'll be on my record forever. Thank you so much. But we're going to call it quits for sure. And it wasn't half-hearted. It was total resolution within my soul saying, that's it. That's it for the alcohol. That's it for the bullshit. It's time to get real with myself and start down this new path. I know there's something better for me. If I haven't killed myself yet and I'm not in prison and I'm not dead, there's got to be something better for me because I put myself through fucking hell. Right? I don't think hell is this eternal fire. I think most of us that are living in the lower vibration, right? That's hell. That's suffering. Suffering. You're suffering right now. Human suffering is living in the lower mind, in the lower body, that lower section. The contracted section is hell. And once you get past courage and you start to expand yourself, that don't mean you can't go through some sadness and some grief and some guilt, but it shows up and it's like, okay, cool. Like we can go through that reacceptance exercise. We can reaccept ourselves. We can understand that maybe there's still a lesson that needs to be learned, but I'm not going to sabotage myself. Right? I'm not going to cause more pain. I'm not going to cause myself more harm. I'm going to continue down this self-improvement, self-mastery, self-discovery, self-care, self-love, which sounds so fucking selfish, right? It's selfish. All you selfish motherfuckers out there taking care of yourselves. It's like, man, you're so selfish. Everything is self, 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 self. And it's like, yeah, it is. It really is, though. But again, even in our construct of this reality, we have to create negativity around what? Self-interest, by putting shit out there like you're a narcissist or you're an egomaniac. And it's like, that's not it. Like putting yourself first in terms of like taking care of yourself, saying, okay, let me assess my situation. I know I have all these things that are self-sabotaging. What is the root of these things? Why am I procrastinating? Why do I set the bar so high and then never get started? Right? Why do I have this perfectionism? Why am I self-medicating? And when you get to the root of it, there's always going to be some sort of an emotional wound there. I believe the garden of emotional wounds, 0 to 10 years old, is the root. The root. There's plenty of branches and shit throughout your life, but the root is there. It's like, has anybody ever pulled weeds? That was one of my first jobs as a kid. I used to get paid to pull weeds. My mom had a landscaping company. And there's a difference between if you get a weed whacker right? If you just weed whack all the weeds, like it definitely gets the job done fast and it looks good, but those weeds come back within a week. They're back. The only way that you truly get rid of a weed is you got to uproot it. And that takes a lot more effort, don't it? Than just, but again, that's quick and easy. We want to look good. We want to look like we got our shit together. We want to look like everything is fine. We want to say everything is great. But we know the weeds just keep coming back. We keep coming back. What's really happening underneath the surface? The root is still there. And until you pull the root, guess what? It's going to be a broken record. You're going to just continue to self-sabotage. You're going to continue to allow for yourself to be controlled by the emotions that you're so afraid to face, that you're so afraid to acknowledge because you've been programmed, oh, fuck my feelings. I don't need to deal with that shit. I'm a man. I don't show feelings. I don't connect with my feelings. That's bullshit. It's like, I can guarantee you, everyone that's ever had to do life with guys like that, they'll tell you, oh no, he's a fucking sensitive, all kinds of shit type of dude behind closed doors. I guarantee it. You might put out that machismo, out in public, but behind closed doors, I guarantee it. There's a scared little boy that's wounded and it's just passing and spewing your hurts, your pains, your unhealed shit to everyone else around you. And even if you don't externalize a lot of this stuff, I can guarantee you that you're emotionally unavailable, where you're just shut down, contracted, and basically off limits from an emotional standpoint to really have deep and meaningful connections with other humans, which is something we all long for. But again, most of the connections that we have developed through the course of our life are based on what? False premise. And forcing connection, forcing acceptance for fear of what? Abandonment, rejection wounds, versus truly being our true and authentic self. And in doing that, then what? We attract the law of attraction, right? Like attracts like. When you're true and authentic, you're going to also attract people that are true and authentic. And there's going to actually be true acceptance, love, compassion, understanding. And I see this in so many people that are suffering right now. I was somebody that I was a people pleaser. Well, where does people pleasing come from? Are you a people pleaser? Do you know where it comes from? It comes from a need to be accepted. I used to just from my upbringing, right? I felt abandoned. I felt rejected, right? I was rejected by the father that I never had in my life. I was, abandoned by my mom when she started another family. And I was kind of a little black sheep. And, it was like the way that I used to try and garner attention after a certain age was, I would be a little troublemaker. I'd be getting in trouble, causing problems. So that even if that was a negative attention, it was still more than I was getting otherwise. And thus that was a way that I programmed myself. So in life, I learned to sacrifice myself in order to what? Keep other people happy. But I don't do that no more because I've learned to validate myself. I will never reject myself. So many of you right now are suffering because you are rejecting your true self. You are not taking care of yourself. And it's like, there's no guilt or shame in that. It's literally the program, but there's a reason why you're hearing this message today. Is because you now have an opportunity to reparent yourself. And this is a process. There's no magic fixes here. There's no quick fix. Which will lead me to the next thing is if I was looking right? If I was going back to myself almost 13 years ago when I hit that last rock bottom, as I just saw 555, which is a symbol of change. If I could go back to my former self, when I first started on this journey 13 years ago, I wasn't thinking about I was needing to get sober and I was needing to get help. Those were the two things that I was totally open to. I was like, I'm gonna be sober and I'm gonna ask for help. I'm swallowing the pride. I need help. I can't figure out what the fuck I need to do with my life right now. I don't understand what's going on, but I'm going to get answers. But if I could go back to that guy back then, right, I would have said, all right, on top of those things, we need to start a morning routine. We need to start listening to positive affirmations. We need to be listening to sleep affirmations. We need to start journaling. We need to be doing mindfulness, meditation, prayer, earthing, eating healthy. Yeah, great. You gave up the booze, but yet the mindfulness, taking your mind on the journey. I know a lot of people, right? They say, oh, I'm going to get healthy. And it's always about a number. I want to lose 100 pounds, 20 pounds, 50 pounds. And it's like, dude, it's not about losing weight. It's about, are you going to shift your whole entire nutritional reality so that you are healthy? And it's not even a mystery to what it takes to eat healthy. We all know about how many calories we should be eating every day. And most of us don't give two shits about that. Most of us don't ever look at the packages, look at what the fuck's in your food, because you're not eating for nutrition, you're eating for comfort. Why do you think we have something called comfort food? What kind of comfort is it supposed to be giving us? Emotional comfort. Because what? We have emotional issues that need to be dealt with. And I promise you, food doesn't heal your emotional wounds. It's a self-soothe, just like any other quick fix. It's a self-medicating thing. Food. We've created comfort food, but yet it's so accepting. Oh, it's cold and, I need to get this comfort food. I just feel better. Well, it's like, yes, you do feel better momentarily, but what you eat today is how you're going to feel tomorrow. And long term, you're like, no, you've been literally abusing yourself. I've never heard of the stick figure thing. This is just flow of conscience coming out here, man. I don't know. And so all of this ties into itself. But the primary place where most of you need to focus on is your physical reality, is your patterns. And what you need to do is you got to start doing pattern interrupts, which means new things. And that's so uncomfortable, right? Because you're such a creature of habit. And we have all these limiting beliefs. Can't teach dogs new tricks or whatever the fuck. Old dogs new tricks. What? I know a lot of people that gave up on learning because school was such a drag. So they're like, I'm 18 now. I'm done with that shit. I'm never going back to school again. I hated that shit. And it's like, man, the school of life, you have learned harder lessons in this game called life than you ever did in algebra and English class and chemistry, whatever the fuck. Kicked your ass in school. That was kids play compared to what life has fucking taught you. But again, you're playing defense versus offense. You have a fixed mindset, contracted, versus a growth mindset, open to learn new things each and every day, to try new things. It's like you got to get back to being childlike in that sense, to be curious, to explore without judgment, to explore who you are, to look in the depths of your heart, look in the depths of your soul. What happened to me and how can I redefine my past so that I can live freer, happier, more fulfilled, more in alignment with my truth in this world? And that's so scary, right? To imagine. I mean, literally, some of you are not only afraid of failure, you're afraid to be successful because you don't feel worthy. You don't feel worthy. There's something called that upper limit problem. When you actually do start getting successful, it could be in a relationship, it could be in the workplace, it could be in your own personal private life. That once you start getting like a whole new vibe going, it's like, oh no, you're not used to that. Let me go back to this old shit because you've programmed to be that. That's the comfortable. But if I go back to me advising myself 13 years ago, I would focus in on that morning routine. Positive affirmations. If you're not listening to positive affirmations every day, throughout the day, all the time, you're missing out. You're missing out because the negativity within you doesn't just go away. But again, it takes being mindful enough to even realize that. Well, how do you become more mindful enough? It's to write the shit down. And that's what I've been talking a lot about. I think it scares a lot of you guys that I've been talking a lot about writing shit down, which is trying something new. Because most of you, again, you hated English. I get it. Most of you hated writing stuff down. Hated having to do essays, having to do book reports. I know this not only through my own experience, but by being a teacher. Most kids do not love that shit. And those kids become adults, and now adults are like, I don't want to write shit down. Why do I need to do that? It's because this is the most powerful thing you can do. When you write something down, you are telling your brain that this is really important, but you're also getting out all the clutter, all the disorganization of your mind, all these thoughts, and you're putting it down on paper. And when you take it out of your mind and put it on paper, now you can play offense. Now you can see it, read it, and say, okay, what do I want to do with this information here? Do I want to let it continue to control my life? Or do I want to take my power back and redefine what all these people hurting me means to me? Does all these people hurting me mean that I'm not good enough, that I'm a failure, that I'm a piece of shit, that I'm, right, not valuable? Or do you want to say, all of this pain was to show me that I had a greater purpose in this life, to show me that I have the power to transcend that pain to become the better version of myself, that I can release that pain, to show me that there is a thing called releasing that I have total control over. It's my choice. It's your choice. You get to choose. You can choose to hold your pain or you can choose to release it. What do you want to do with it? What do you want to do with your pain right now? You want to release it? Or do you want to hold on to it forever and ever and ever? This lifetime, 100 more lifetimes. How many more lifetimes do you need to hold on to your pain? The choice is yours. Isn't that beautiful that you have a choice? I love that you do have a choice. You have a calling, you have a purpose, and guess what? You can totally choose to neglect both of those. You can tell both of those, go fuck yourselves. I'm not doing it this time. Okay. Okay. It's your choice. The sad thing is, though, is that when you choose that, most people are not in total isolation by themselves. So the sad thing is that by you being that contracted, you're impacting the lives of other people. And that's where it gets to be like, that's actually the most selfish thing you could do, is to choose to not take care of yourself. Do you realize that? Like that's actually selfish. To say, I don't want to take care of myself. I don't want to heal these wounds. Because the thing is that right now, if you heal your emotional wounds, do you realize that you actually reset your whole entire ancestry? Uh-oh. Did you hear that? Did you hear? I don't know if you heard that. I don't know if you heard that here in your heart of hearts, that you healing your emotional wounds heals your whole entire ancestry. Your healing heals your ancestry, and it also begins to heal humanity collectively. That's how powerful this is. It's selfish to stay in suffering. But the cool thing is we all get you get the choice. I had the choice. I had the choice back then. I could have killed myself in my darkest night, or I could have just continued to just beat myself up, live in my suffering, continue with my addictions, or I did option 3, which has turned my whole entire life around. And even through that, there's still people that view me as the former version of myself. And that's cool. I don't need to explain myself to them. That's the people pleasing, right? If you're someone that's constantly over explaining yourself to everyone, that's people pleasing. You're trying to fit in. You want their acceptance. You getting someone else's acceptance is somehow validating to you. I don't care whether or not you accept what I'm saying here right now. Doesn't change me. I'm going to keep getting on here and speaking this truth because I go straight to God. Me and God got an agreement. Every single day, I renew my mind, renew my heart, renew my soul, and I am given my marching orders to serve, to speak, regardless of who's listening, regardless of who's responding. My job is to believe that my purpose and my purpose is to be the best version of myself, and my calling is to speak this message. Whether you respond or not, it doesn't change. I'm not going to change my message based on whether you respond or not. See, that's the difference. I'm not looking, I know people, I've even paid people that look for what's popular, what's trending, and they say, okay, I'm going to talk about that. But it's not a part of them. And then they get miserable because they actually create like an audience, they create a community, and then it's like, fuck, now I got to serve this thing. I created something that I don't even know if I really want to talk about forever. And the reason why I could talk so freely is because I do this. This is in alignment. It's effortless for me. It's effortless. And there's no expectation that you respond. I put the message out freely. Whether you respond, that's on you. My job is done, putting the message out. But it's not just talk, is it? It's not just talk. And that's the beautiful thing, because many, many, many of my life skills have converged in this alignment. And I think, and I believe this with all my heart, soul, mind, and strength, that when you fully take that leap of faith to heal your emotional wounds and to start to transcend up that vibrational chart past courage, right? What you're going to realize is the failed businesses, the failed relationships, the things that didn't go your way were all for the betterment of your life. That all these talents, all these experiences, they finally converge in alignment, in harmony, and it creates something within you that then you cannot contain. And that's a beautiful thing, because it's like this reconciliation of like all of your life experiences that you may feel like you came up short or they didn't go your way, and maybe there's still some frustration about that. And yet it's like, oh wait, it was all meant to be utilized, but for the future version of you, for the highest version of you. And that's what's so incredible. So it's not just talk. Obviously, I've been talking about, and I'm going to talk about it right now, is this bad boy right here the 1% Better Everyday Journal. 91 days of self accountability. Where did that come from? Right? Where did that come from? Well, I'm glad I kept these guys. So here's my last 5 years of journals, right? Nothing fancy about this, right? Nothing fancy. Just a lot of notebooks filled with writing, and more reflecting, more processing. And yet, again, I do know a little something about journaling, being consistent. I got the receipts. Here's the receipts. If anybody wants to know the receipts on my journals, here's the receipts. And, I read freely out of these. But here's the most beautiful thing. If you're somebody that's been thinking about journaling or curious about journaling or even having doubt, like, I don't know, man, I don't know where to start with the journaling, or I don't know what to do with the journaling. What's journaling all about? I get that. That's how I felt when I first started. Again, I was the kid that did not like writing. If Chat GPT was, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, fuck, man, I would have used the shit out of that. I would have used it because I just did not like to sit there and write and write and write, even though I do feel I'm actually a pretty good writer if I give myself that effort. And that's what my journaling journey has been. But I want to tie these two things together. The difference between this guy and this guy. What's the difference? What is the difference? What is the difference between this guy, right, and this guy? Well, I can tell you that many, 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 many days when I was staring at a blank page, I was overwhelmed or distracted. And it felt like, I could sit there for like an hour and I just felt like I didn't really ever get anything down on paper. And yet, throughout my journey and with my background, my experience, both teaching, I'm also an award-winning graphic designer. So I just have this real depth of creativity behind me, ran a promotional products company, did all the design work. That I was, again, remember I'm telling you, all these skills come together. Well, that's what this is. People have asked me, like, throughout my journey, we're like, hey, how do you journal? How do you do this? Like, teach me. And I was still figuring it out. But here's the most coolest thing. Because I have receipts, this is what's beautiful. I'm going to read this right now. This was from April 30th, 2023. So almost 2 years ago, just shy of 2 years. I'm going to read this straight out of my journal, which is, it says, I believe, right? What have I told you guys about your success? Your success is placated on your belief. What do you believe? Do you believe you could be sober? Do you believe you could be healthy? Do you believe you could do life on life's terms? Do you believe that if you purchased a 1% everyday journal, you could show up for yourself 91 days at a time? Do you believe that you could listen to sleep affirmations and literally start to reprogram your subconscious? What do you believe? Neutral. Be neutral in your beliefs, especially throughout this process. But here's what I wrote down that I believed. I believe results kill excuses. Again, 2 years ago. I believe results kill excuses will become a global brand, and I will do whatever it takes to bring about its success and appeal. I believe my success is tied to how many people I add value to. I know that I add value to every person I encounter. I have thoughts of writing my book and creating a, you guessed it, journal. I'm grateful to have the option, time, and creativity to do anything my heart desires. I'm asking for God's inspiration to fill me up with my purpose, my mission. I desire to become the highest version of myself. This is straight out of my journal 2 years ago. And I can guarantee you that I had the vision for this probably 18 months before I wrote that down. It was starting to plant seeds in my mind to say, what? Well, yeah, I'm getting all these people asking me, like, a journal, how to make it fun, how to make it easy, how to make it something that actually is engaging. And that's what's so incredible about this resource right here. The 1% Better Everyday Journal has fun interactive sheets, but it also has this other piece that's literally that self-accountability piece that a lot of us need. And it's shifting because you have daily, weekly, and monthly goals that are really personal priorities. It's shifting goals into what truly matters to you. And then a whole nother component interwoven into the Results Kill Excuses 1% Better Everyday Journal is a 5-phase 91-day, like basically 3 months, personal growth program of understanding from self-sabotage to self-mastery that has over 35 coaching sessions in the app from yours truly. So I think it's probably one of the most incredible resources on planet Earth. There's nothing like this. I've spent a lot of time looking at, all the kinds of men's journals, this journal, that journal. A lot of this shit just looks AI, right? It's kind of bland. It's kind of boring. This right here is fun and easy. It's easy. And you also get the coaching piece from me. So if you're thinking about journaling, you want to really make this year a year of breakthrough, of really holding yourself accountable and seeing some dang results in your life to where you're not just a whole nother year saying, another one got by. Maybe it'll be next year, 26. I highly, highly encourage you to consider investing in you. Yes, it supports the brand, Results Kill Excuses, which I'm always grateful for, but it's an investment in you. And that investment in you is saying, right now, I'm telling you, I spent hours upon hours, which most people don't have, just staring at a blank piece of paper. You now have me guiding you through gratitude, chalking up things that you did good yesterday, things that you could have done better, giving yourself daily goals, daily priorities, writing affirmations to yourself, focusing in on mindful practices, morning practices every single day. On top of that, having the whole 5-phase personal growth tied into all that, it's an incredible resource. Again, it's something, I don't do something unless it's something that I'm willing to do. And I've been using this every day. And it's been very impactful because I'm someone that goal setting hasn't always been the easiest for me. And just like so many of you, I try and figure it out in my head and I try and say, okay, I think I want to go to the gym this week, or I think I want to do this week. And it's like, do you do it or do you not do it? And the thing is that your thoughts really do create your reality. And so the more, if you're willing to actually sit there, and I want to share some of this with you. So if you're willing to sit there, and again, this is like the layout of all the different sheets that you have here. So the way that it breaks down is you have monthly goals, again, things that matter to you. These don't have to be incredibly huge things. You have weekly goals. But it's, again, the difference between saying a goal is, something that's out there, to just saying, hey, this month, right, I'm going to do the Journal every single day, no days off, right? Maybe you're going to give up and release something, an addiction. You're going to eat healthy 1 meal a week. It's also setting the bar low too, right? You have your morning gratitude worksheets, which I love because, you start every day talking about how do you feel the best? Are you the best version of yourself? Are you the best electrician? What are you the best? It could even be something that you're wanting to realize into your life. There's some goal that you have. And again, it's not saying you're better than everybody. This is all part of reprogramming. We're so afraid to say, I'm the best at something. And it's like, yes, there is something inside of you that you are absolutely number one. But then you also have positive affirmations, mental, that you're going to speak. Just think about this. I am worthy to have good things happen to me today. Did any of you give yourself an affirmation like that this morning? Or whenever you're listening to this, every morning. And this is every morning you do this worksheet and you repeat that to yourself 3 times. You're telling me after 3 months, you're not going to start to shift your mindset, having this as being a guided practice. So simple, so easy. And it's called journaling. This is absolutely journaling. I'm ready to accomplish what matters to me today, right? So you're already prepping yourself that whatever you write down here, the 3 things that matter to you, you're already prepping yourself mentally. This is a mental game. I'm ready to accomplish what matters to me today. What you put in here is up to you. For every single day, there should be something that matters to you. Living a healthy life, going on a walk. It doesn't have to be these crazy big things, but at least it gets you moving and doing things that are coming from your heart. And it's like, again, I got nothing against the blank piece of paper, but there's not a lot of guidance there. You just got to be self-driven to do that. This is truly a gift that has come not only from myself, but it did come from my higher self because I journaled about this. Can you imagine if you started journaling? What's going to come out of the inside of you that you don't even realize that's there, that you don't believe is possible? But you need to start down this path in order to uncover it, to cultivate it, to develop it, and then to eventually express it. And so to me, every day, it's a gratitude first approach. Filling the jar of gratitude, it could be anything that you can write as you're grateful for. I think on here, and then it's also the things you love. A lot of people have been talking about, if I was to go back to the guy 13 years ago, it would have been this morning routine. I didn't really start locking in my morning routine until about 5 years ago. So there's an 8-year gap of just kind of flailing, like working, looking, searching, trying, doing, just one step at a time, when it was like, if I had the morning routine down from the jump, man, I would be lightning years ahead. And at least now I can turn back. And this is one of the biggest things I believe. What qualifies me to be here, what qualifies me to be talking about this, is because I feel I am perfectly qualified to help the person that I once was. I know who that guy was. Brokenhearted, lost, suffering, just feeling unseen, feeling unloved, feeling really down on himself, carrying around a lot of guilt and shame, feeling like a failure. So I'm perfectly qualified to help that person. And if you're one of those people, I'm grateful to have you here, because this is truly an act of service, which is a part of my legacy, a part of my life. Always service. Service to others. I'm a servant type leader. So having these mindful practices, being incorporated, positive affirmations is at the top. Again, if you haven't reached out and asked for some positive affirmations, obviously you have the capabilities to just search for some. I would start with I ams, and you'll see that here in a second. But in the reflections from yesterday, I'm telling you, I still struggle with this. What did I do good? We do not give ourselves enough credit for even just the basic shit we do in life. Like maybe you didn't cut someone off. Maybe you let someone uh, cut in front of you in traffic. That, like, just those small things, you just start to pick up on more and more that if you're down on yourself, there's a lot of good things that you're doing. Acknowledge it. And clearly, the mindset here isn't perfection, it's 1% better every single day. So, chalking up, what could you do better? And then you have your matters. Beyond that, what you get is this dream big cloud. I am affirmations. So it's listening to the affirmations. They should be playing in the background as you're doing these morning gratitudes. These sheets take about 15 minutes each. So you need about 30 minutes every day to get this knocked out. So you got your I am affirmations, and this is just, building yourself up. It's reprogramming the negative thinking, the negative self-image. I am beautiful. I am handsome. I am strong. I am intelligent. I am healed. I am healthy. I am abundant. I am worthy. When was the last time you told yourself any of that? When was the last time just in your own mind you're having some negative thoughts and then you counteract those negative thoughts, say, no, that's not true. I'm healthy. I am loved. I am loving. I am caring. I am kind. I am free. I am rich. This is the process. And then so the third and final piece to here is for 91 days, you go through the 5 phases, which if I pull out of here and go to the next page, here's your 5 phases of personal growth. They break down to about 18 days each. Self-sabotage, breaking those patterns, building a solid foundation of self-improvement, phase 2, phase 3, stepping into self-development, phase 4, cultivating self-awareness, and phase 5 is self-mastery. And so for each of those, you have goals. What's really cool is you'll see these video icons. So every one of these throughout the journal, you go into the app and there's going to be a coaching session with me giving you some more context. And I can tell you that one of the first coaching sessions available is because phase 1 is about self-sabotage. That's why I've been talking about it so much. Is in here, this first section, phase 1, identify 3 self-sabotaging behaviors I have noticed in my life. How many of you even understand what self-sabotaging behaviors you have? Journaling, this whole experience is all about looking in the mirror. It's about reflecting. A lot of people, you're so distracted, which is self-sabotage, because you don't want to do that. Why? Why wouldn't you want to do something that literally there is no downside to it? There is no downside. All the fear, all the dragons, all the demons you think you have to go and slay, it's not, none of that exists. This is literally takes you being compassionate, being understanding, being loving, being caring, being kind to your inner self. And it's just an incredible resource. So I'm grateful to be able to offer this again. It was manifested 2 years ago. This guy's writing about putting together a journal, probably a year and a half even before that. So we're almost at 4 years in the works. This isn't just something that we went abracadabra. It took a lot of effort to really allow for this to come together. And I'm grateful to be able to offer it to you. There's a link down below if you want to purchase it. I'll send you these beautiful magic pens and a sticker. But greater than that is just knowing that this investment in yourself, there's no downside to it. And if you think just getting the notebook with the blank page is your way to start, man, start. I don't care. I really don't care. But if you're someone that's saying, I do need some more structure, I do need to develop self-accountability, because that's really the magic piece, isn't it? Ain't nobody going to do it for you. So you saying you're thinking about doing it, waiting for it to happen, wishing it could happen, watching other people do it. When are you going to jump into the arena and start doing it? That's self-accountability. To start doing things that actually matter to you. Because anything contrary to that, either procrastination, self-sabotage. Setting a bar so high that you never start, self-sabotage. Continuing self-medicating, self-sabotage. And you got to get to the point of why. Why are you afraid to succeed? Why are you afraid to fail? That used to be one of my biggest fears, failure. It's because I chalked up a lot of losses throughout my life. But it took me reframing the failure and realizing that, wait, time out. The road to success is paved in failure. I needed to see that, wait, all of these people that I see as successful, they have all failed throughout their life. Why do I think I'm so different that I had to, like, if I had to be perfect? Stop with that. If you're looking for something that's very structured, organized, guided, supportive, please consider the Results Kill Excuses 1% Better Everyday Journal, 91 days to really activate some self-accountability in you. And this is volume 1. There's going to be 3 more volumes. So it can take you the length of a year, but you didn't have to start on January 1st. You can start any day, it doesn't say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever days. It's just day 1 through day 91. So when is it? Is today day 1 or is it one day? Are we still doing that? One day I'll be ready. One day. I hope today's your day. And if it's not your day to jump on this, if you're someone that's still stuck in a lot of self-sabotaging behaviors, like I said, man, I hope that your rock bottom happens sooner than later. Because the sooner it happens, the better. You need, like, it's that way in this life. So with that being said, I'm grateful for everybody that's here. I do want to make an announcement. I do have an announcement to make. Thank you, everyone that's been on the show for this long. I did draw names for the WIN one-on-one coaching, and those people will be notified shortly after this live stream. I'm going to post up a video and you'll get a link. And so I just want to thank everybody that participated, supported the brand. Guess what? The Results Kill Excuses shop is still open. So if you want to support either investing in yourself, right? Lots of resources here. 1% journal, first 5 workbook. And clearly you can just get on the app and do the first 5 courses with a printer and print out all those worksheets, but invest in you. I don't want to convince you to do it. You should be inspired to do these things. You should realize most of us don't, though. Most of us, we need to hit the rock bottom, and that sucks because it doesn't not have to be that way. If you didn't watch the video I posted today, I talk about that. I talk about the fact that, fuck, man, I could have came peacefully, but I didn't. I had to hit that rock bottom once, twice, 3 times, man. So many fucking rock bottoms. In order to do what? To fully appreciate all that I have, all that I am, and know that with absolute clarity and certainty, I will never need to go back to being that lower version of myself. There's no need to. There's nothing there for me. Everything I have is right here, right now, within me, not outside. Because even if I lose everything, guess what? I'm not those things. I am me. And as long as I continue to believe, do you remember when I read it in my journal, there's a lot of belief. I believe. And if anything that I've lost, I know that rejection is protection. I know that as I had to go through my own moments of courage, the vibrational chart, I let go of everything. And for the first time in my life, our heart is a muscle. I felt my heart, the tension that my heart was under, I felt it release. And it was like this pulsating, energetic eruption from within that was like this peace, this bliss came out of my heart, overflowing to feel amazing for the first time, man. Like I was like, whoa, because I just let go of all this pressure, let go of all these beliefs, let go of all the bullshit, man. Everything I believed, every person, I let go of all this stuff. I let go of everything I could think of. And we get so caught up in, oh man, if I let go, I'm going to lose it. It's like you only lose what's not meant for you. There is a large coffee cup there. I don't know if you want like a tumbler, but there is. I don't know why they're not showing up. I put a link on there, Brian. I'll send it to you if you're looking for coffee cups. So I do highly encourage you to do the forgiveness exercise. If you haven't, download the app, resultskillexcuses.com. The other piece that I'm motivated on, and I know some of the regular Banff warrior tribe that's been showing up here, it's like, it's wanting to start connecting on the app, away from the socials, right? To really start connecting and sharing our story. And whether it's you're working on one of the first 5 courses, or even if you get enrolled by getting the 1% better everyday journal, that's going to give you access to another private community to be able to interact with and share stories. And again, I think this is me still needing to create more systems and structure, because I'm putting out all of this stuff, but there's no excuses there. It's just saying it's happening. It's happening little by little, 1% every day. And so I'm going to continue holding myself accountable to really ushering and leading, and then looking for some of you that are very active to just keep communicating, keep sharing your story. Hopefully others will open up and be willing to share theirs as well, especially on the app. I think it's new though. That's the thing, right? It's very different. We're not used to that. And I can just tell you that I've been impressed by how much interaction happens, not only here on the lives, but definitely just in the channel in general. Like, a lot of people are really putting themselves out there in a vulnerable way. And that's like that was the most encouraging to me. So if that could just get also translated over into the app, into those chat areas, especially if you're working on a course and you have questions, or you just want to kind of put out how that's worked for you, introduce yourself, get to know each other. It's like, that's powerful. It's powerful stuff. And I think that's what so many of us are longing for and hungering for, are these more meaningful, deeper soul level connections. And I think that's what's literally being turned up throughout all the relationships. I mentioned this earlier. It's like the old relationships, just because you were born or blood familiar with somebody, that doesn't mean it's a deep, meaningful, heartfelt connection, like soul level connection. In many ways, it's like a codependent, toxic, um, almost flat out abusive type relationship. And it's like we need to free ourselves from those things by healing ourselves. And as you heal yourself, then you're going to create healing within those old familiar relationships, but it has to happen within yourself first. And then it's even like you have the ability to shift even your workplace. A lot of you don't believe that, but you showing up differently shifts every environment you step into. What, even just the grocery store, the gym, your workplace, right? Walking into your home, it shifts. Your energy is everything. You have that much power in you. I know someone had put up a question about how do you disconnect, right, from your personal life to like your professional life. And the thing that comes up for me most in that is that if your identity, your concept of self, the more that you are identified by your occupation, by what you do for a living, that's what's going to make that more like integrated into your everyday living, if that makes sense. So as you start to get to your truth, which is more spiritual than your responsibility as some kind of an expert or person that has an occupation, when you disconnect those two, you're going to see yourself more as the spirit, and thus you're not going to be attached to the occupation, to that role, to that identity. But if your identity is rooted in what you do for a living, right, it's going to be hard to disconnect those. You're going to take your work home with you. You're going to be stressed out 24 hours a day, carrying all that shit, as opposed to just being like, nah, man, like I'm there, I'm present when I'm there. And when I'm gone, I'm present to where I'm also needed, where I'm assigned. It's an assignment. Your family is your assignment. And that's an important piece to know, is like the people in your life you've been assigned to care for, to love, to nurture, to learn from. Whether they're above you or below you, you're called to get to know these, to serve these people, to learn from them. Every encounter should be that. Okay. I want to close off today's stream with some breath work. So if you would like to join in that ceremony, we'll do some breath work. We'll do I'm going to probably put some emphasis. We might do a small visualization in terms of just thinking of the topic of forgiveness that goes into the worksheet. And I hope that many of you are really off to a great start in your new year. Again, new year, give yourself permission to try new things. Pattern interrupts. And that takes, again, looking at your patterns so that you can start to break those things up in order to give yourself some new results. If you're tired of what you've been doing or thinking or feeling, you have the power. The choice is yours, right? The choice is always yours. If you want something new, you have to try something new. If you want to feel different, you have to think different. You have to start acting different. You have to start believing new thoughts, creating new patterns, creating new habits. And at the root of all that is just saying, like, what do you love to do? Where do you feel most alive? Ask yourself that. What makes you feel most alive? Do you feel most alive sitting back, cheering on some incredible athletes doing their thing? Like, does that make you feel the best ever? Like, if so be it. If it does, then so be it. Keep doing that, I guess. I know me, I don't. I'm like, fuck, these guys are killing it, but what about me? I need to go out there and fucking put in some work and go do some hiking or go exercise and, take care of myself. Like, I don't have time to fucking cheer on other dudes. Like, good for them, man. Those guys are fucking rocking it. I'm inspired by the fact that they're out there rocking it. I don't need to watch them rock it. I want to see myself out there in the arena doing life. And so the things that make you feel most alive, a lot of those things are creative things. A lot of those things are things you abandoned because they're things you used to do, maybe in your adolescence, in your youth. And you said, I ain't got time for that. I got to do my job and I got to take care of all these bills and I got to do all this other shit. So I don't have time for none of that no more. So you You stop doing it. And then you ask yourself, why? Why? Why'd you stop doing it? And you have 1,000 reasons or excuses. When the truth is just there's no reason for you to stop doing it. Because that's true living. Like, that's really living, is doing the things you love to do, knowing that you're entitled, that you get to do the things you love to do. No one can stop you. No one should stop you. And you definitely shouldn't stop yourself. Make time for the things that matter. That's why the whole Results Kill Excuses 1% Better Everyday Journal is all about daily, weekly, monthly, what matters to you. Prioritize the things that matter. And as you do that, it's like there's times that you follow through and you knock all three things out, and there's times that you don't. And you don't have to beat yourself up, but you just like it's just a constant self-evaluation as to being like, okay, do I need to set the bar a little lower? Did I put too much on my plate? And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I say, you know what, I'm going to knock out these 3 big things today, and fuck. The day happens and I got 2 out of the 3 or 2.5 out of the 3. And I'm like, I don't go and beat myself up. I say, I got 2 out of the 3. That's pretty damn good. Because if I didn't write anything down, who knows? I might have been procrastinating for another week. So let's do some breath work. Those of you that are here that would like to join in the breath work, go ahead and find a space that you feel comfortable, that you feel cozy in. I know that if I was listening to me right now, I would probably find the most comfortable place in my house. I would probably get a fuzzy warm blanket and wrap myself up and just, just make yourself really comfortable. That's self-care, right? Is finding comfort, because this is going to be the opportunity you have to be present, to let everything slow down. Slow down. Literally, you just let the world fade away and all the worries of the world. So go ahead and do that in the next few moments. And I think I really want for everyone that's participating in this breath work to really just be in the spirit of not only gratitude, but in forgiveness. Release. Forgiveness is an act of release. Imagine yourself holding on to something that's painful. Imagine if you were holding a knife in your hand, the sharp edge of the knife in your hand, right? And you're squeezing it, and it's like it's cutting you. You're bleeding. And yet you keep squeezing it harder and harder and harder, and you know it hurts and you know it's bleeding, but you're locked. Your hand is just getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, and yet it's just bleeding, and you just keep holding it. At a certain point, like, you kind of hit the bone and all that where your hand's not going to cut itself off, but you're so locked. You almost the pain almost becomes numb. Right? The blood is still gushing and flowing, but it's like it's become numb to where it's like the pain, you've almost become comfortable with the pain. Did you hear this? Comfortable with the pain. So forgiveness is saying, you know what? I'm hurting myself by doing this. Why? Why am I hurting myself? Why am I doing this self-inflicted wound on myself? And so forgiveness right now is you realizing that you're doing this, but guess where you're doing it? You're doing it in your heart. Your heart. And so with this analogy, it's time for you, if you're ready, the choice is always yours, but this is an opportunity for you to not only just release and let go of the knife, but now allow for the healing to take place, to care for yourself, right? Because you now have a wound. And if you had a wound that was gushing blood, what would you do? As a former corpsman in the U.S. Navy, you're going to apply direct pressure. You're going to put a bandage on there. Apply direct pressure. Stop the bleeding. And then once you've at least gotten the bleeding to slow itself down, you're going to change the bandage. You're going to take care of it. You're going to probably put on some antiseptic, or you're just going to treat that wound and you're going to allow it to heal. You're not going to say, let me pick the knife back up. Let me squeeze this knife again. It's starting to heal. Let me go ahead and squeeze it again. Some of you do this. Some of you let go of the knife, right? You let go of the alcohol. You let go of drugs. You let go of things that are causing you harm. But really the root of it is really just that you're sad. You're hurt. You're carrying around a lot of shame. You're carrying around a lot of anger. You're carrying around fear. You're carrying around a lot of guilt. And you're looking, instead of releasing the knife, right? You're saying, let me do this other thing that takes my mind off of the fact that I'm holding this knife. This thing allows me to not think about the knife in my hand anymore. So I can be distracted. Even though the pain is there, it's become numb. I'm now distracted. I'm distracted. I'm feeling relief from the pain when it's like, all you gotta do is let go. But some of you say, no, you know what? I can't let go. I let go. No, I'm going to pick it back up. I feel more comfortable holding on to the knife. This feels comfortable to me. This feels right. When all you have to do is just let go and start to take care of yourself. That's a hell of an analogy, but I think it really paints the picture of what some of us psychologically are doing. You're holding the knife. You know you're cutting yourself. You feel the pain, but you don't want to let go. You would much rather have something take your mind off of this than knowing you have the power to let go. And as you do, you can start to take care of it. Take care of it. Well, what is it? It's the cut. It's the wound. You don't take care of the knife, right? If the knife was someone or something that hurt you, you don't take care of the knife. The knife is the symbol of something else. You don't take care of it. You don't need to clean the knife up. It doesn't know whether or not it's dirty or whatever. It doesn't matter. You have to take care of you. You have the cut. Your responsibility isn't to worry about the knife. Once you release it, it's to take care of the cut, the wound. That's self-care. Are you willing to let yourself heal? I hope that you find the strength. I hope this is your year. I hope this is the moment. This is the day. If you're holding the knife, let it go. Start taking care of yourself. That's forgiveness. Forgiveness is releasing the knife. And the way you heal is by loving yourself, caring for yourself. And caring for yourself the way that you would take care of someone that you say you love. If they were hurting, if something was wrong with them, how would you take care of somebody else? Realize that you can do that for yourself. Let's do some breath work. No, not thinking about it isn't letting it go. It's ignoring it. Avoidance is self-sabotage. Avoiding, ignoring. That's why so many people are so distracted right now. Because that gets their mind off of having to do and to focus on what really matters, which is to heal, which is to truly not only release the knife, but to take care of the wound. Let's go ahead and just start to connect with our breath. And as we do, in this moment, we truly do release everything that is, everything that was, everything that will be in this eternal now, the here and now, this moment that we find ourselves here present with one another. Let's just in through our nose, gently, and out through our mouths. And anytime you're taking in these breaths, always try and take in the deepest breath you can and make sure you blow out all the breath you can too. Blow out every tiny little bit of air that you have inside of you. Return that life force energy in through your nose and out through your mouth. A little more, blow it out. One more time, in through your nose. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Let out all the breath. And here in a moment, we're going to take in some deep breaths. And I feel like we should do some tension on our holds to just release, to let go, to feel the pressure and then to release. And imagine yourself releasing that knife, releasing the thing causing you pain. You're causing yourself pain. There's no pain outside of you. The pain you feel, no one else feels. It's your pain. No one else feels your pain. You're the only one that feels your pain. Thus, you're the only one that can know how to heal your pain, how to release your pain. So let's go in through our nose one more time, a clearing breath, and out. And as we finish exhaling, let's take in a deep breath, even another if you have it, and hold. And as you're holding, I want you to squeeze your fist. Imagine that knife is in your hands. I want you to squeeze your chest, your arms, your feet, your face. Squeeze, hold tight. 5, 4, 3, 2. Get ready to release the knife. 1. Release it. Release and just allow for just that relief. Allow yourself to feel relief after that tension build up as you exhale. And let's take a clearing breath in through our nose and out through our mouths. And as we get ready to take in this next deep breath, get ready, take in a deep breath in through your nose all the way. And if you can, one more. And hold. And I want you to squeeze those knives, each fist as tight as you can, as tight as you can. I want you to feel the pressure, the pain in your fists. Bring that pain that's in your body into your fists. And hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Keep holding. Squeeze just a little tighter. 3, 2. Get ready to release. Release. Let go. Let go. Exhale. Let go. Let go of the pain. Let go of all that pain and feel the relief. Feel a sense of relief. Feel your body from your mind down to your feet. Take a clearing breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Let's take in one more deep breath in through our nose. And if you have one more, and hold. And I want you to squeeze. Squeeze your fist. Squeeze those knives. Really feel that pain. Feel the pain leaving your body and being all the pain you're carrying in your heart. Feel it in your palms right now as you squeeze and hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Keep going a little tighter. 4, 3. Get ready to release. 2, 1. Let go. Exhale. Let it all go. Release. Just feel a sense of gratitude. Feel a sense of relief. Just be present. Reconnect with your natural breathing. Maybe right now is a good time to put your hands over your heart space, which is the center of your chest. And just continue with the breathing. In through your nose and out through your mouth. And I want you to picture yourself in an outdoor space. You're seated on a log. And there's trees. And you can hear the flowing of a river nearby. It's a warm, sunny day. You can feel the sun beaming down on your face. You can feel the warmth of the sun, that radiant glow of the star, that heavenly star radiating upon your face. You can feel its warmth. You can feel the power and the energy. And that warmth actually starts to expand beyond your face, throughout your entire body. And as you're sitting here on this log, you're just in a place of peace. And I want you to just do a body scan. Identify any discomforts that you may feel in your body, any ailments, any pains, any kinks that you feel, just things that feel misaligned, things that are feeling a little bit out of order within your being, within this vessel. And I just want you to send love to all these places where you're feeling discomfort. Maybe it's in your throat. Maybe it's in your jaw. Maybe it's in your heart, your arms. Maybe it's in your abdominal, your stomach. Maybe you're feeling pain in your groin or in your legs, your knees, your ankles, your feet. Anywhere that you're feeling discomfort, I just want you to send love to that part of your body. And I want you to double that love that you're sending to your body right now. I want you to send even more love to those areas that are feeling off. Send love and double that love. Send even more love as you start to tap into your heart space and you feel that warmth flowing through you. As that river flows, I want you to feel that life force energy coming from the sun and flowing through your heart into your body. I want you to send your body love. Give yourself a smile. Maybe soothe yourself with a word of affirmation. Maybe you need to let yourself know that you're proud of yourself, that you do love yourself, that you're ready to start taking better care of yourself, that you're ready to heal. Let yourself know how you intend to show up from this moment forward. No guilt, no shame, just clarity in this moment in time and space that you've been granted this place to be here and now. That all that matters is this conversation with yourself. Maybe it's that you're going to start to reprogram negativity, open yourself up to new ideas, new experiences, new beliefs. Maybe it's to redefine your past. Maybe it's to forgive yourself, to forgive others. And as you're just enjoying this moment right here and now, you can feel that warmth of the sun, and you feel it in your heart, and you feel that warmth radiating throughout your body. I just want you to take in a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as you're seated there, you hear someone approaching you, and you turn to look, and you realize that your higher self has come here to share a message with you, to share some encouragement with you, to give you some advice. And you stand up and you greet, you hug, and you embrace. And your higher self begins to share this message with you. Receive your message now. And as your higher self finishes sharing this encouraging message with you, I just want you to truly observe your higher self. I want you to truly see who it is that you can and are meant to be. This higher self is not a distant self. It's not a foreign self. It's not a wishful self. It is your true self. This is your true self. This version of you that has appeared to you today. I want you to truly take in all that you can to see. To really allow yourself permission to realize that there's so much more for you to become, for you to be from this moment forward, if you truly are ready, knowing that you will be guided, you will be protected, and you will be aligned to fulfill this most important purpose in this lifetime, for you to become the highest version of yourself. And that becoming starts right now, realizing that everything that is not your higher self is your false self. It's your lower self. And although much of your lower self has been so necessary up until this point, it no longer serves your greater purpose. And you can make a choice to release this lower self filled with guilt and shame, sadness, grief, fear, anger, pride, worry. And in doing so, you can embrace love, joy, peace. As your higher self looks at you, that look is a look of belief. They believe in you. They believe that you are capable, that you are worthy, that you are good enough. They give you a hug and they walk off. And you take a seat back down and you just allow for this moment to resonate. A true fork in the road, an opportunity for you to truly embrace all that you're capable of, the fulfillment of your purpose, your destiny, or it's to say more of the same. Allow yourself to truly ponder and reflect, and to start to have a curiosity to discover your truth, your potential. To redefine yourself, to set yourself free. And in just a moment, I'll begin a countdown. I want you to reconnect with your breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. You can also start to move your body, reconnect with your body, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and open up your eyes. You can stretch. You can allow yourself to move around, comfort yourself. Some of you may want to write down some of the messages that came through in that. And with that being said, I appreciate everyone that's joined on one of my favorite times of the week. I really do get so much in our live streams together. I hope that you'll continue to make this a part of your week, continue to share the channel and engage. And if you haven't yet, download the app. And I hope that you can find a need and a desire to want to connect with your soul tribe. It's time for us to see each other, hear each other, accept each other, build each other up, cheer each other on, so that we all can find that fulfillment in becoming our best selves. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you so much for all your encouragement. And I look forward to seeing you next week. And I know I'll see you sooner than that. Go out there and do something good for yourself today. Connect with nature. Get outside. Feel the sun. Feel the cold. Whatever the environment is. Immerse yourself in nature. Nature is a good place for you to connect with that higher self, to clear yourself, to really ground and center yourself. Play some affirmations. Do some self-care. Knowing that you'll always get something from that. Set yourself up for success this week. I love you guys so much. Everybody take care. You know the drill. Results kill excuses, because if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth it. Greg's out.